If you sneeze in 1917, 1918, 1919, you often would simply spurt blood. The lungs would be so full of blood, there would be so much bleeding, there would be a frothy, blood-like mixture that would come out of your mouth, your nose, your ears, and your eyes. Lots of tragedies in the 20th century. No one, very rare, would ever say the flu epidemic of 1918 and 1919, which killed more people, created the early deaths of more people than World War I and World War II combined. You can't even imagine an event that would combine or exceed the death rates of World War I and World War II. But certainly the flu epidemic of 1918 and 1919, some people call it the Spanish flu, was a devastating event, one of the great disasters of world history. And it became a pandemic. We all know what epidemics are, but I used to have to explain what pandemics were. I no longer have to do that. The word pandemic is a part of our vocabulary now. In Spain, there was a king, Alfonso, who had the flu. And all other countries who were participants in World War I or the Great War, all countries had some degree of censorship, except Spain. Alfonso did not get Spain into the war early, so they were neutral. They had no censorship. So if you wanted to send something out around the globe, you sent it through Spain. So all of the press releases that went out about the war from European countries came out of Spain. All of the stories about the influenza, how many people are dying from the flu, how many soldiers have the flu, how many soldiers do we have in hospitals? That all came out of a Spanish press release. Consequently, everyone in America ended up calling it the Spanish flu, which is not true. It didn't have anything to do with Spain and its origins. Probably started in America, but we called it the Spanish flu. Philadelphia had a huge preparedness day to get ready for the war. It was really to bring people in, to give them some spirit, some enthusiasm, and to get them to join. All of the doctors said to the military folks, don't do this. Don't have this big parade. And it was the biggest parade in the history of Philadelphia to this day. They had a World War I parade, a Preparedness Day parade. They had hundreds of thousands of people that came downtown Philadelphia, and they're all close together. They're all jammed in narrow streets, and the result is Philadelphia's influenza numbers rose dramatically the week after this. And if you get exposed to this lethal virus in 1918, within 2 or 3 days you come down with a cold, a severe cold. And in about 2 or 3 more days, you're dead. One of the aspects of the influenza epidemic was how fast you died. When Cape Girardeau boys joined the military in 1917 and early 1918, they all went to St. Louis. They were put on a train and they were sent to Camp Funston in Kansas. That's where the pandemic probably started. So they all got the flu. Then they went to Camp Devens outside of Boston and were put on ships and sent overseas. So we have a lot of people in Cape Girardeau who joined the military, went to Camp Funston, got deathly ill. Many of them died there, and then to Boston and shipped across the Atlantic. And this virus, this influenza virus, invisible, untouchable, came and joined the fray. So we had a struggle now between tangible and intangible enemies. It was new, it was different, it challenged human thought. And we have been thinking about this ever since 1918. It was fear, it was death, it was on a scale unprecedented. More people died from the influenza epidemic than died in World War I and World War II combined. That's devastating. The power of a bullet, the power of nuclear bombs, unmatched, we think, except by an intangible enemy.